Today's video is going to be a full face, step-by-step, products included, makeup tutorial. This is my signature go-to glam. So if you're curious about how to achieve this look, keep watching. Okay, first things first, I already prepped my skin. I like to start with a very hydrated base. One of my favorite moisturizers before makeup is this Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. I have combination skin. I get oily a little bit in my T-zone, and I feel like my pores are a little bit big here. So for primers, I like to use anything that's a little bit more matte and also blurring. This is a great drugstore product. Clearly I use it a lot. The label has completely come off. This is the Revolution Blur Stick. And I just start by gliding this all over to help make my pores look a little bit smaller and everything look matte. And then I use this Milk Makeup Pore Eclipse blurring primer. So when it comes to skincare and primers, I like to let it settle into my face for at least 5, 10, if I can, 15 minutes before I do my makeup. It's not always ideal because a lot of times I'm in a rush, but try to let it settle for a few minutes. Before I put foundation on, I want to go in with a concealer that is my skin color and cover up any dark spots or breakouts. So I'm going in with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. This is my favorite concealer, and I'm just gonna dot anywhere my skin tone isn't the most even, or if I have any pimples. This next step I don't do all the time, but if I want a little extra glow, I'll go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter underneath my foundation. This is the shade 6.5 Deep, and I just put it under my cheeks. Looking crazy. So I have this Pro Foundation 56 brush from Sephora. I get a lot of my brushes from there, and I just want to put a little bit of setting spray on the brush before I blend this out. So this is the e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist. I'll literally just put a little dab. I'm gonna blend this out. Blend my life away. Then I'll go in with a light layer of my foundation. I like to use the Lancome Idol Ultra Wear Foundation. This is the shade 450W. I've been using Lancome foundation for literally 10 years. It's my favorite foundation. It leans a little bit more to the matte side, I would say. By the time I finish my makeup, I like to look very matte, but also like I'm glowing from within. And then for my foundation, I like to use a beauty blender. And I already pre-dampened this. I went on vacation a couple weeks ago, so this shade is like maybe just slightly a little too light. A nice light layer and just blending all of this out. One thing that is important to note, the foundation I used was a silicone-based foundation, so you want to make sure that your primer is also a silicone-based primer. Otherwise, when you mix a water-based foundation and a silicone-based primer, that's when your foundation starts to separate and you don't have that flawless base. To set this, especially in the areas where I get a little bit oily, I'm just going to do the lightest layer of translucent powder. This is the Haus Labs Bio Blurring Loose Setting Powder in translucent, so there's no color to this. And I'm just going to lightly, especially my smile lines, because that is the first thing to crease for me. Center of my forehead is also what gets the most oily. Now I'm gonna go in to contour, snatch the face up, snatch the nose up, all of that. I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty Matchstick in Espresso. How low you bring your contour is completely up to you. I have plenty of real estate available on my forehead, and so I bring my contour pretty low. It's about a 6 or 7 head, who knows. And then for my cheeks, I just want to focus on lifting, so I'm gonna go upwards. For my nose contour, I follow the natural bone structure of my face, and so I go in and follow this bone right here. It's basically in the crease of your eye, and bring that down into this bone. I'm I'm going with this Pro contour brush. This is from Sephora collection, and a little spritz of setting spray. Blend my life away. It does not have to be perfect because we're gonna blend our highlight in here and our liquid blush in a second. Any excess I kind of put underneath my jawline here to help snatch your face. Then I'm going to go in with a concealer that is a couple shades lighter than my skin tone. Again, this is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. This is the shade Warm Sand. I'm going to focus again on lifting my eye by going upwards and snatching my nose. So I'm going to bring this in here on the sides of my nose. This is definitely full coverage. It's a very like rich and creamy consistency. I really like it. So I use a brush and then a beauty blender. So this is a Real Techniques concealer brush. And I'm gonna blend out the edges first and bring everything up. Okay, and then because this is so full coverage, I'm actually just gonna use any little bit of excess to bring down the center of my nose. Can maybe come up a little bit, but again, the more I bring this up, the bigger my forehead is going to appear, so I don't like to bring it up that high. You know, this is why they call it painting your face. It's like art, and you're creating the illusion of a smaller nose, if that's what you want. And then again, any excess I can use to just clean this up as well. I'm gonna blend all of this out with the top of my beauty blender. Really take your time blending so that you don't have any harsh lines. Totally forgot I wanted to do a little bit of liquid blush. So I'm gonna go in with this Rare Beauty liquid blush. This is the shade Joy. Again, a little goes a long way with this also. So I'm just gonna do 2 tiny dots. I actually start by using my finger to blend it out because I wanna keep the majority of the pigment. And I feel like sometimes with a brush, it can take some of the pigment away. And I'm going up with where my contour is and just blend that out with a clean brush. You want all of this to like seamlessly blend together. Now, if you want your under eye a little bit more brighter, you can go in with another layer of this lighter concealer in your inner corner. Last bit of blending. I have this angled brush. I'm just gonna dust a little bit of the same contour on it just to really emphasize this nose contour. Lightly tap. I don't want to lose the structure that just created, but I also don't want it to look like straight up lines down my nose. So I spray my face a couple times throughout doing my makeup, so I want to set all of these liquids in place. So I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. I'm impatient, so I have my little fan. Once this dries, then I'm going to go in with my powders to really make sure everything is locked in, and then that's also where I try to make sure that I'm getting that matte finish. I have a nice glow, but I want to lock this all in, so I go in with a very, this is optional, go in with a very light layer of translucent powder. I mostly do this because I live in Texas and it's September and it's still 95 degrees outside. It's very humid here, so I have to use a lot of powder in my routine typically. but just a very, very light layer. Okay, to set all of these powders, I like using a little triangle puff. I get these on Amazon for a couple bucks. And then under my eyes, I'm gonna use the Givenchy powder. This is the shade 3, Voila Rose. I don't know how to say it, but it's the pink one. Putting some on the back of my hand. I want this first layer to be about setting. Just a light layer. This is the best setting powder, and they just changed the formula, and I'm not hearing good reviews, so I'm very sad. I'm gonna have to switch to a different powder, maybe the Huda Beauty, but this powder is so blurring. I hope you can tell on camera. Like, look at how like matte and blurred that looks. I'm gonna do the other side. Then, because I like a bright under eye, I'm gonna go in with this Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. This is a brightening pressed powder. It's obviously a lot lighter than my skin tone, but I use the triangle puff again and go in under my eye to brighten a bit and to keep snatching my nose. Now, I don't necessarily have to bake. If I was in a rush, I would probably just stay like this, but I'm gonna do eyeshadow, and that's when I do like to bake so that it can catch any fallout. And then here is where you can go in with that thicker layer. And let me just say, this is like I have a couple hours to get ready. This is like a full glam situation. If I was in a rush, I could just do the light layer of setting powder and keep it moving and skip over these steps. And then another thing I do is bake my laugh lines, because that is the first thing to crease on my face. Sort of press that in. And then you can also clean up a little bit underneath your cheek contour. Okay. For my eyebrows are microbladed, so I'm just gonna clean up any of the foundation and powders that got on them and just wipe that off. I don't know if you can see, but I have like no hair. I have no tail. Like my hair stops right here. And I'm just gonna take a simple little brow brush and brush my hairs up. The hairs that I do have. Go in with this NYX Control Freak eyebrow gel so that these hairs stay in place, and brush these in an upward motion. And then, because my microblading is starting to fade just a little bit, before I finish my makeup, I'm going to go in with a brow pen and draw in some hair strokes on the tail. But I do that at the very end, typically. Cool. So for my eyeshadow, I kind of call my eyeshadow routine lazy, honestly, because I do the same thing every time. I just swap out the main color. Same way that I contoured my nose, following the bone structure of my face is where I'm gonna put bronzer. I'm gonna use this Charlotte Tilbury Perfecting Micro Powder. This is the shade 4 Deep. And I basically use the bronzer as like an eyeshadow or an eyeshadow base. So I just take a regular fluffy brush and follow that same line that I just drew in. Follow it kind of like right into there. And do that on the other side. I'm naturally following that. I feel like this just comes with practice and knowing your eye shape and your face and how much eyeshadow your face can handle. My eyes are pretty small and my lids are hooded. So this kind of helps me create like this fake illusion that my lid is bigger than it is. Okay. So again, lazy eyeshadow routine. If I don't feel like doing a liquid wing, I kind of just create the illusion of a wing with eyeshadow. So this is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3 palette. And there's this dark brown color in here. This palette has seen better days, but I'm going in with this dark brown color. And this brush, I don't know if you can tell, this brush is kind of angled. I like to use one that's a little bit angled so that I can kind of create that wing illusion. When doing eyeshadow, make sure you like tap off any excess, because you'd rather have too little and be able to build than have too much. Kind of create a wing outwards like that, and kind of following that concealer line that I created when I was doing my base, and then inwards a bit to like almost the halfway point of my eyelid. Okay, so I've got this makeshift wing. So what I do is then take a clean brush and just buff it out. Buff it outwards again to create that wing, and then I'm buffing it down. It's kind of just like a little fake winged smoky eye. You can even bring it a little upwards into that crease so that it ends up being like a little half triangle. Literally all I do. And then just lightly blend it inwards, and that's it. And the reason this works is because the eyelashes that I use get more voluminous toward the end, so it just complements the little smoke makeshift wing. If I really wanted to be dramatic, I can do a black wing eye, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to put a little bit of black eyeliner in my waterline. This is the Maybelline Tattoo Studio Smoky. Add a little bit of dimension into my eye. Now that same dark brown shade I used in the outer corner, I'm gonna use in the bottom of my eye, in my lash line. And I kind of just connect it up here. And I can also kind of use this as a little fake half wing also, and start from the bottom and just go like that. I'm gonna take a fluffy brush and get all of this setting powder off of my face. Lightly remove any excess. Anything that's left on my brush, I can just glide over my forehead, because that's always good to get shiny. It's gonna be shiny, so the more the merrier with the powder when it comes to my forehead. Okay, we'll bring the hydration back into the face, going back in with the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. Do bronzer, I'm gonna go back in with the same Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Deep. Bronze my face up, and anywhere that I put my contour is when I'm just gonna go over it with bronzer. Add some life into my face. As of today, I'm almost at 15,000 subscribers, and this is my first long form tutorial review, get ready with me anything. This is my first video over a minute long, which is crazy, but I'm gonna try and be better about posting more of these, because people always ask me for tutorials, always ask me questions, and I feel like they can't be answered in under a minute with shorts. For my blush, I'm going to use the Sephora collection. This is the color 29 in Fascinated. It's like very bright orangey. Just going to go in light, very lightly. get scared with this blush because it's so bright. I don't want to use too much. Speaking of long form, if you are already subscribed to me, is there anything in particular that you want to see long form, more tutorials, any ideas? Feel free to leave them in the comments. I forgot with my bronzer, I also go down my nose contour also. Then the same lighter Charlotte Tilbury powder that I used earlier. Go down the center of my nose a little bit. And then go in one more time here to keep it bright. I can also use this to clean up any lines from my eyeshadow. I'm gonna spray again. This time I'm gonna use this Revolution Super Hold Super Fix Ultra Matte. I drench my face in this. We're gonna throw on some lashes. We're gonna do Lily lashes in Miami. And also I really like a feminine, almost like baby doll-ish looking eye. And so I have these bottom lashes that I get on Amazon for like $8 that I also put on. I don't do this when I'm in a rush, but I'm gonna serve a look. Yeah. Before lashes, I go in with some mascara. This is the YSL mascara. I think it's one of the best mascaras out, period. This is what we're looking like with one eye done. I didn't curl my lashes or put mascara on yet, but I put the Lily lashes on the top and the Amazon lashes on the bottom. And I think it makes a little difference. All right, I've got top and bottom lashes on. To the bottom lashes, and I'm using this Fenty Beauty mascara. Some mascara to the bottom here. I want to smoke out this lower lash line just a little bit more. That same dark brown again. Moving on. What else? Shall we do a lip? Shall we do a lip? So for my lip, I like to overline the top, and to make sure that stays, I set it with some powder first. We're gonna use the Makeup Forever lip pencil in Limitless Brown. I look like an animal. Then I'm gonna use Charlotte Tilbury, this nudie color. It's called Cover Star. I might go back in with a little bit more just to be sure that that stays. All right, Fenty Gloss Bomb in Fenty Glow. Blend it out. Clean up your lip if you got anything anywhere. Go back to my brows for a second. This is an Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pen, the shade dark brown. I'm gonna do strokes here. Okay, last spray, the One Size setting spray. You have to hold your breath while you spray that one because that is strong. That really gives the matte finish. And I really emphasize my T-zone. And then a last little trick, if you are more on the oily side and you really want to look like airbrushed, anywhere that you get oily, for me it's my T-zone, go in with the lightest layer of translucent powder and just dust anywhere you typically get oily. I'm not too much of a highlighter girly usually, but maybe I'll do a little bit of this Fenty one. Okay, I have no idea what my hair is gonna look like when it's time to take this down, but we're gonna do that quickly. I've had these flexi rods in since last night, like almost 24 hours. So this is a bit of a disaster, but we're gonna see how we can fix this up. I have 3 bundles in of Kendra's Boutique Brazilian Body Wave, and then my stylist here colored them with the blonde for me. 2 bundles of 22 and 1 bundle of 20 at the top. Okay. This leave out situation. Okay, so I think we got that together a little bit. I'm gonna go get dressed and I'll be back. Okay, we are dressed. I just finished filming this outfit for shorts, so if you're curious about the full look, head over there and check it out. Let me know what you think about this video, like, comment. Please don't forget to subscribe and also follow me on Instagram. Bye.